Welcome back riders, this is Blacken Beet Bike Update, and today we're diving deep into a machine that has been stirring up excitement all over the motorcycling world, the 2026 Suzuki GS400 Neo Retro. Now, let's make something clear right at the start, this bike isn't just a motorcycle, it's a revival of an icon from the late 70s and early 80s, a time when Suzuki first introduced the GS400. A twin-cylinder roadster that became a cult favorite for its balance of performance and affordability. Fast forward to 2026, Suzuki is tapping into the growing demand for neo-retro machines, and the GS400 Neo Retro is their attempt to bring back that timeless charm, but with a modern twist. So, grab your helmet, because we're going to take a full tour of this motorcycle, from the way it looks, to how it rides, to how it stacks up against today's competition. At first glance, the front of the GS400 Neo Retro immediately tells you what Suzuki is aiming for. You're greeted by a round LED headlamp housed in a classic chrome-style ring, giving it that authentic vintage feel while still using modern tech for brightness and efficiency. The DRL circle the lamp like a halo, something Suzuki has done to bridge the gaps between old-school styling and modern visibility. Above it, the gauges are a tasteful mix of analog dials with digital inserts. You still get the mechanical sweep of the tachometer, but tucked inside is a neat LCD display showing gear indicator, fuel economy, and trip information. The front suspension stands tall with traditional-looking forks, but they're updated with modern internals, likely offering preload adjustment to balance comfort and sportiness. The front wheel sits with spoke trims, wrapped in two blues retro-style rubber, giving that old Cafe Tilde copyright racer vibe but with current-day safety. Swing to the side profile, and this is where the GS400 Neo Retro really earns its name. The tank design is unmistakably a callback to the original GS400, with its sculpted teardrop shape and bold retro graphics that scream late 70s Suzuki. The paint schemes are expected to be bold and metallic blue with white stripes, maybe even a classic black with gold pinstripes. The seat is a flat bench style, slightly stepped for rider and pillion, covered in stitched leatherette that looks authentic to the past. You'll notice the frame is exposed steel tubing, keeping with retro design philosophy, but it's likely a lighter and stiffer construction than before. The exhaust is a twin-pipe setup, one canister on each side, slim and chromed, bringing back the soundtrack of the original parallel twin while conforming to modern emission norms. It's simple, elegant, and nostalgic. From the back, the bike keeps things neat and classic. The tail lamp is a rectangular LED unit with a slightly smoked lens, flanked by minimalistic indicators that stay in tune with the retro vibe without looking too modern. The fender is cut short, leaving the spoked wheel on display, and Suzuki has resisted the temptation to overcomplicate the rear end. The grab rail is finished in chrome, another nod to the 70s, and the rear suspension consists of twin shocks with preload adjustment, painted in contrasting colors to add flair. Overall, the rear look is clean and authentic, perfect for riders who want that Cafe Tilde copyright racer or commuter aesthetic. Now, the heart of the GS400 Neo Retro. Suzuki has stayed true to its origins by sticking with the parallel twin engine. Displacement hovers around 399 cc, just like the original, but this one is liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and tuned for modern efficiency. Expect around 45 horsepower at peak, with torque figures somewhere in the 35 to 38 Nm range, which makes it a very usable mid-capacity motorcycle. It's not built for crazy top speeds, but more for smooth, linear delivery that suits both city commuting and weekend rides. The engine character leans toward a throaty but refined sound, with that distinctive parallel twin growl that gives retro charm while still being emission compliant. Suzuki has likely paired it with a 6-speed gearbox and a slipper-assist clutch, making it beginner-friendly yet engaging enough for experienced riders. When it comes to performance, the GS400 Neo Retro strikes a balance. It's not a supersport, but it's not sluggish either. Expect a top speed around 160 km/h, but more importantly, it's about how the bike feels between 60 and 120, the sweet spot for daily use. Handling is aided by a steel tubular frame with a slightly relaxed rake, making it stable but still agile enough for twisty roads. Braking comes from a single front disc with ABS and a rear disc setup, more than adequate for its weight, which should sit around 175 kilograms. Fuel economy is expected to be one of its selling points, offering around 25 to 28 kilometers per liter, making it both fun and practical. For urban riders, this means low running cost, and for long-distance tours, it means fewer fuel stops. The ride comfort is classic Suzuki, soft enough to soak up bumps, firm enough to enjoy spirited cornering. Now let's talk about what everyone wants to know: the price. Suzuki has positioned the GS400 Neo Retro as an accessible modern classic, aiming directly at riders who want retro looks without the heavy premium that European brands charge. Internationally, we can expect pricing to fall somewhere around the equivalent of $6,000 to $6,500, putting it in competition with bikes like the Kawasaki Z400 RS and Yamaha XSR 300. In Asian and European markets, it's targeted as an entry-level Neo Retro, and in regions like India, it could be positioned around 3.5 to 4 lakh INR if localized production happens. Suzuki knows that to make this bike successful, it has to balance nostalgia with affordability, and all signs point to them getting that balance right. So, after spending time looking at the 2026 Suzuki GS400 Neo Retro, what's the verdict? This is not just a throwback. It's a thoughtful modern motorcycle that respects its roots. It captures the charm of the old GS400 while giving today's riders modern reliability, safety, and performance. It's stylish, practical, and designed for riders who don't just want speed, but character. If you're someone who appreciates the simplicity of retro design but don't want the headaches of maintaining a 40-year-old classic, this bike makes perfect sense. Suzuki seems to have delivered a package that could very well bring new life to the GS legacy. For me, it's one of the most exciting Neo Retros to hit the mid-capacity segment in recent years. And that wraps up our deep dive into the 2026 Suzuki GS400 Neo Retro. Let me know in the comments if you think Suzuki nailed the retro revival, or if they should have gone even bolder. Until next time, this is Blacken Beet Bike Update, signing off, reminding you to ride safe and stay tuned for more bike updates from around the world.